Okay, so today we're going to do the first break-in oil change on the Africa Twin. Now, this procedure will be basically the same for the manual transmission as the automatic, this being the DCT automatic, except for one item. There's an extra filter on the DCT, and we'll be doing that on the other side. Now, if you have a manual transmission bike, everything's the same, you just disregard that other filter on the other side. Pretty easy process. No real specialty tools to speak of, except maybe a torque wrench to put everything back together in the end. So we already warmed up the bike. We got it up here on the lift. We're going to start by removing the skid plate on the bottom. Okay, now the skid plate is held on by these three bolts, and there's just a little stud on the other side that it slips onto, and that'll pull right out. And we'll stick that in the bolts off to the side, and we'll get a pan under it and get it draining. Okay, so we're going to drain the oil from the bike now. There's an oil drain plug here towards the back and another one up here towards the front. Now we're just going to take out this first one because they kind of go in different directions and you really don't want to make a huge mess. So we're going to do this one first. We are going to make a bit of a mess probably, but that's okay. There we go. First one coming out. Now on top of here you're going to see a crush washer. You need to replace these with a new crush washer every time you change the oil. And we'll set that aside right there on the skid plate. And I'll get a towel to wipe my hands. Okay, that's slowing down pretty good now. We'll slide the pan towards the front. And I'm going to get this other one, I think, from the other side. And they both take a 12mm wrench. Just get that right on this front one. There we go. Just watch it on this side if you're going to do it from this side. That exhaust is still pretty hot from warming it up. Yeah, that one's almost empty. Let's see what comes out of this one. Now this being the break-in oil change, that oil's pretty clean already. There we go. And we'll get those drained out. Okay, now we're going to reinstall the rear drain plug. It's almost done draining, so we have to slide the pan now forward to get the oil filter out. Now when you put them in, you want to put them in with a new crush washer, 22 foot-pounds. Then 21 and 22's on the line, and we'll lock it into place. Okay, we got our new crush washer. We're going to put that on now. We're going to put this in the rear hole back here. Careful not to drop it into the oil, and you'll have a bad day. There's that click. There we go. And we're torqued up, 22 pounds. I always give it a second click just to make sure it's not going to move anymore. Make sure we got a good solid 22 pounds on there. So that's done. Now we're going to slide this forward because now it's time to take out the oil filter. There we go. It doesn't matter that we're messing up this oil filter because it's coming off anyways. The oil filter goes on right here, screws right on there, and that's the sealing surface. Now these do have a rubber O-ring, or rubber seal if you will. Sometimes that'll be attached to the engine. It gets hot, it melts to the engine. So just make sure after you take it off, inspect this surface. Make sure the rubber sealing ring isn't still there. Sometimes it happens. The new filter comes with it anyway, so not to worry. Pick up the filters right straight from Honda. It's not necessary. There are aftermarket manufacturers. K&N makes a great filter. And in fact, K&N's filter has a little nut welded onto the end that you can put a 17mm wrench on. Makes it really easy. Just take a little bit of the new oil right around the surface so it slides nice as it's tightening on. Now, this oil filter does have a torque spec as well. Unfortunately, I don't have a filter wrench, so we can't torque it on. All right, now I'll screw this new oil filter on. I did not pre-fill the oil filter. There's much controversy out there of whether that's actually necessary or not. I don't feel it is. And it's easier not to as well. So we'll slide that on. Okay, starting to get some resistance. There we go. And that's all it takes. Hand tight. Yep, nice and tight. Okay, now we're going to put that front drain plug in. This one, of course, is 22 foot-pounds as well. It's got oil on it now because I had it on the part there. And this just crushes down when you apply that torque to it, and that forms a seal to the engine. In a pinch, you can reuse them, but it is recommended to replace the crush washer each time. And there it goes, started right on. There's one click, and let's try it again. Very good. We are at 22 foot-pounds on the front. Now, if you have the manual transmission bike, stop here, put your oil in, you're done. I'm going to change the clutch oil filter now. Once that's done, that's where the manual transmission part would start, refilling the oil after that. But right now we're going to go and we're going to do the clutch oil filter, which is on the other side of the bike, and that's only on the DCT automatic. Not necessary on the manual because it doesn't have one. Now that oil filter is much different than the one you already saw. It is a cartridge type that goes inside the engine. Not to worry, very easy to do. And there's your Honda part number if you want it. Alright, so we've taken the drain pan out. We have all the drain bolts in, the filters in. It's not going to leak anymore. So it's all nice and clean under here. Right here's where our clutch oil filter is. It goes right inside here. Now you take these two out, and inside you're going to find an O-ring, a spring, then the filter. I believe they take the same size as the skid plate. They do. Same size as the skid plate, which is a 5 millimeter. So you just take these out. Oil may come out of here. I don't think much. I'm just going to put a rag down for this. I don't think much oil is going to come out of here. I'm just holding it in as I take these out because there is a little bit of tension behind it with that spring. Okay, pull it out of there. And here you go. And here's the O-ring on the outside. Looks to be in real good shape. We have our spring. Right here we have the sealing O-ring. What goes on that is recommended, let you change that. I don't know if it comes with the filter. If not, don't tell Honda, we're going to reuse it. And the oil filter does not come with a new O-ring, so unless it's visibly damaged, it should be just fine. And this one's fine, it's in great shape. Now we got to get this filter out of here. Well, let's see if a magnet will pull it out of there. Come on. There we go. Filter is out. See, we used a magnet as a handle, buddy. See? Stick the magnet on there and then we can pull it out with the handle. Okay, now this filter goes in rubber seal in towards the engine. Right there's a little dimple where the spring fits in. So you just take, slide it on there. Now the old seal came out with the filter. Sometimes, just like the oil filter on the engine, that may get stuck in there. You have to get that out. Push it on. That's it. It doesn't go on very far. Put our spring back in. And we put our cover on, making sure that spring sits right into the hole in the cover. Line those up. Put that one on a little bit. Put that one on a little bit. There, everything's going to stay right in place now. Now this one here has a torque setting as well. This one is more important for the torque setting. If you over tighten it, you actually risk breaking these little tabs off the sides, and then you would have to replace this cover. So let me look up what the torque setting in that is. Now these covers go to 9 foot-pounds. Now what we're going to do first, we're just going to tighten them up so they're snug with just a normal wrench. Now when I'm tightening these up, I'm going back and forth. Tighten up one side a little bit, tighten up the other side a little bit. And what that does is it keeps the cover going in nice and straight, doesn't pinch your O-ring, gives you a nice seal. Okay, that's snug. That's snug. Now, let's adjust the torque wrench down to 9 foot-pounds, and then we'll tighten these on. Click. There's a click. There's a click. Second click, and we're good to go. Surprising how light those actually have to go in. If you're doing it by hand, it's kind of hard to judge. If you have the manual transmission bike, this is where you would fast forward the video to and continue on, because you don't have this part here. Now let's go refill the oil. Okay, now this bike has 2 spots on this side. It has a oil fill cap, and it has your dipstick towards the front. And this I'm going to just take out and leave right on the threads. Now a full oil change with both filters takes approximately 4.5 quarts. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 4 quarts in right from the start, because we know that's going to fit. And again, I went right to Honda, got the GN4 motorcycle oil. You don't have to use this. You do, however, have to use a motorcycle oil. Regular 1030 car oil, it has additives that help with efficiency. You have a wet clutch in a motorcycle, it's going to slip. Use the motorcycle oil. So we'll put in this first gallon. Okay, I got that first gallon in. Now I'm going to start the bike up, let it run a little bit, get it circulated through the filter, all through the engine, through the clutch oil filter. Then we'll put the dipstick in and we'll slowly add that extra just to make sure it's up to the fill mark. You really don't have to let it run for very long. Now in this bike, you check the oil with the dipstick in, not threaded. Just let it come down to rest on the threads, and that's it. And the bike should be in an upright position for doing that oil check. So pull it out, see where we are. And we definitely have to add some. But we knew that. So let's add a little bit more. Good. We're right up in the middle, right on that mark, which is right where we want to be. Perfect. Screw that in. And now we just have to put the skid plate back on. Skid plate, all 3 bolts that you took out the bottom, they are all the same size. Little metal post. And that's what this grommet here goes on to. So all you do, stick it right over top of that. There it goes. 2. And the last one. It needs to be that tight. So to recap for tools, we used a 5mm 3/8 drive hex right there, and that was for the skid plate and the clutch oil filter if you have the DCT automatic. 12mm socket to remove the drain plugs. A short extension just to make life a little easier. You could probably get away without this. 3/8 drive ratchet, 3/8 drive torque wrench. Wouldn't be a bad idea to have an oil filter wrench, and then you wouldn't have to use these. Another option that you can use if you don't have these is you can actually take a screwdriver and a hammer and actually pierce the oil filter at the end with the screwdriver and the hammer and use that as leverage to take the filter off, in case you're in need. And we're done. And that's all it is. Don't have to do it again for 8,000 miles. So that's it. If you made it to the end, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to put those down in the comments. We'll answer them the best we can. I got all my information basically from the owner's manual. Seemed pretty straightforward, so we went ahead and did it. Good luck.